Hey guys, happy Saturday. Thanks for stopping by to watch another episode here at alliseeisW, where we talk about stocks, crypto, and finance. In today's video, I'd like to share with you the latest updates on Ethereum, as well as covering the top three Ethereum treasury companies you don't want to miss out on. I'll be covering latest updates using technical analysis, price predictions of ETH, as well as these three treasury ETH companies. Now, if you're new to this channel, I'm so grateful that you're here. I would really appreciate you hitting a like, subscribing for more related content. Let's begin, guys. Watch your guru posts ETH hits 4,200. We actually saw ETH reaching that levels last night. It broke out 4,000. It continued. We had 4,800, years ago in the last crypto cycle. And now we're beginning to see headway where Ethereum just really wants to break out to new levels. Dr. Profit posts ETH massive breakout today from the ascending triangle pattern in monthly time frame. For those who yet don't understand this pattern, it's massive and uptrend will be continued for the next months. Predicted this breakout 2 months ago. So we're looking at an ascending triangle pattern. So basically it's hovering in a bull flag. You got the pole channel, and just look at this. 2021 is when it broke, 4,800, and it's just been hovering in this channel for so long. So where current ETH price is, it hasn't even reached its all-time high yet. So it's ready to break out. With the ETH target, we're looking at, possibly getting to new levels in this year alone. Ted posts ETH almost in full price discovery mode. Ethereum 7,000, 8,000 is loading. We opened that 3,200 door, 3,940 door, 4,095 door, 2024. And we're now knocking at that 2021 all-time high of 4,878 door. So we're not too far away. That's about, less than $700 away from breaking the all-time high of ETH price. Bitcoin mining stock, he posts, I would recommend giving him a follow. He posts really good information. He also created the mining mafia. So, give him a follow on X. The main tickers I think that will outperform iron in the short term are the ETH Treasuries. That's BTBT, SBET, BMNR. I'm trading these to buy more iron and using iron to ultimately buy more Bitcoin. So these are actually going to be the top three ETH companies I will be covering today. Let's take a look at this website, the block. It covers Ethereum treasuries, stacked market caps of ETH treasury companies. Now, this might not be fully updated, but just to give you a flavor of the companies I'll be covering today is Bitmine Emerging Tech. That's in dark blue. That's led by Chairman Tom Lee. We actually have Kathy Woods buying huge amounts of BMNR stock, starting in July as well. So the entire Wall Street is flocking in right now. BMNR is the top number one company in terms of, ETH Treasury HODL. SharpLink Gaming, SBET is the ticker. They're really, getting close to BMNR as well. I really like SBET in terms of the price action, the volume. So be on the lookout for SBET. We'll be covering technicals as that. BTBT, Bit Digital is a company not to ignore as well. I mean, they were a Bitcoin miner as well as AI services. Now they're pivoting, selling off their Bitcoin, and now converting all of that to buy Ethereum. So they are a Ethereum treasury company as well. They have huge upside just based on the price point. We see lots of volatility to the upside. Where there's volatility, there's vitality, like what Michael Saylor would say. So be on the lookout. I mean, just look at the cumulative market cap of each treasury companies. It continues to go up, and soon enough, it's going to break through that $10 billion in the next couple of weeks, is my predictions. Let's take a look at ETH on the technical analysis. So we're looking at ETH on the daily chart. So key thing is we broke out of this Ichimoku flag starting May. This was around the time when Bitcoin also broke out as well. So ETH broke out of that Ichimoku cloud and it's just been hovering above this cloud, got back in between the clouds around June timeframe, and it just hovered up starting in July. So we're breaking away that cloud. It's sunshine and rainbows. Now it's price discovery phase. We have huge financial institutions buying like BlackRock with ETH, THE, ETFs really just stacking Ethereum right now by hundreds of millions of dollars, like BlackRock. And this is really driving up the price of Ethereum with the 401k news, with the executive order being signed by Trump. This really is pushing Ethereum and Bitcoin up to new levels where we are right now at 4,166. I think we're going to really see Ethereum very soon in the next coming weeks, months break into like $5,000. And I'll be giving you my use case as we head out. But 2025 looks like a year where we may very well get above 7,000 is my prediction as well. Let's take a look at technicals of the first ETH Treasury company. That is BMNR, led by Tom Lee, chairman. I posted a lot about BMNR, just with, my own assessment in the last couple weeks. I mean, I was talking about BMNR like at around that price of like 28. So congratulations to those who got in. We've already seen like close to 1x gain. I was predicting somewhere around that $77 when the price was like at 28. But my use case doesn't change yet. I want to see a breakthrough 77, which is very likely given the price at like $51. So we're not too far away. Another like 20, 30%. We're going to reach that. I really do think we're going to get to that level because the relative strength is in the stable, area where we're continuing to see it trend up now that we're seeing ETH Treasury companies, have upside, especially with Ethereum breaking out. Now, the all-time high that we saw is at around that $160. First thing we want to see is, having BMNR break through the 77, and soon enough, once that happens, RSI will be somewhere around that, 68, 70 is my prediction. And as we break through this use case, we may have it consolidate around this range and then start gapping up to the prior resistance. But I think that $77 on the near term in coming weeks is very likely with BMNR. So be on the lookout with this huge upside run up. Let's take a look at SBET. So SBET, in terms of where we are right now, we had, SBET at like $8. It ran all the way up to like $40 on like 12, 13 consecutive days of green. And then it had a pullback during that time, got down to like $17. It built a support base around this time. I think, starting the opportunity to buy after that run up to like 17 onward, we're beginning to see it hover up in this ascending channel. Relative strength gradually increases. I really like the upside in this case. I'm forecasting somewhere around that $51. So I do see upside in SBET on the near term, given the fact that it had a huge bleed out and it's beginning to climb back up from like 17 to 24. It's building a case here. Relative strength is increasing as well. RSI from that prior run up, it's already cooled down. And I think, in the coming days and weeks, we're going to hit that $52. And once we get to that level, I think, we're going to see some consolidation. There might be some pullbacks, slight pullbacks before the next leg up. But let's wait and see until we break through that, that $50 range. And I'll give you my own assessment. But this looks very achievable, just getting to this new level, especially with the excitement around Ethereum right now. Let's take a look at BTBT. So BTBT on Thursday, it had a big pullback. On the day it went up and then it dropped by like, 13%. On Friday it had a small marginal gain. But one of the key things is where there's, volatility to the downside, that's, where BTBT can have one of those just big out breakout days where it can go like, 20%, 30%, similar to what we saw with BMNR. Key thing is on the support, we see higher lows. So this is a good sign for BTBT to start climbing up. Yes, the price is much lower than like BMNR, SBET, but there's still volatility to the upside. I think that, where we are with BTBT, definitely undervalued. We've seen it hit like 450 onward. So I really do see the potential for it to get to $6 on the near term as relative strength increases, as BTBT increases their Ethereum hodl. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video where I gave you my overall assessment on the top three Ethereum treasury companies, along with technical analysis, price predictions of ETH, BMNR, SBET, and BTBT. If you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing for more related content. Thanks for watching, guys.